Little T Studio presents Clay Tips and Tricks Part 2. For baking polymer clay, I use an old cookie sheet, and sometimes I'll put a tile on there. I can put multiple tiles on here, or I can put parchment paper on the actual tiles, or just put parchment paper on the cookie sheet. When baking larger items such as this cake topper, I like to use an oven-safe teacup, and you'll see that I'm not just going to leave it sitting next to the clay. I need to put a piece of parchment paper between. That way it doesn't stick and it helps hold up the ears, because in the oven those ears are going to get really soft and they're going to fall down. And that's not what we want. And you can see the nice curvature of these bunny's ears because of the way we baked it. Pause the tutorial now and read through these important safety reminders. Oftentimes when I'm working with clay, I'll get partway through a project and realize I have to go do something else. It's really important that when you're putting your clay aside, that you cover it with something. I just use this old plastic container. I think it used to hold cookies or fruit or something. Obviously I washed it out, but it is perfect for keeping dust off of the clay before it's baked. Make sure to center it so that the edges don't touch the clay like this. This is my favorite tool. It's a turntable, and oftentimes you see this used in cake decorating, but I found it works perfect for polymer clay. Just simply set the item on the turntable, and you can turn it around and work at whatever angle you want to without having to touch the clay item itself. To keep the surface clean, I use a piece of parchment paper. That way, if it gets gooky, I can just throw away the parchment paper. Sometimes when working with clay, I prefer to work in front of the TV instead of my desk. So I have this cool little table that has collapsible legs that allows me to take my workstation anywhere throughout the house. For sauces and frosting, I like to use Deco Gel and liquid Sculpting. When adding color, you can take a blade and scrape chalk, or you can use watercolor paints, which is what I prefer to use. It's easy to mix and it looks really great when it's baked. To paint clay after it's been baked, I really like using acrylic paint in a variety of colors. If you're like me, you probably have a zillion polymer clay cutters, and it's really hard to find a specific one for a project that you're working on. So what I've done is I created little labels and marked it in a book so I can easily find the cutter that I'm looking for. When storing tiny little items that can easily get lost, I like storing them in these little plastic containers. You'll see they're clear so that I can see exactly what's inside of them, and it keeps them dust-free and easily accessible. Also, for anything that I've made with liquid polymer clay or Deco Gel, I can just store in these containers as well and label them accordingly. This completes part 2 of my tips and tricks. Check out my YouTube video channel for part 1. Visit my website, littletstudio.com, for awesome supplies. Thank you for watching and happy crafting!